This video is brought to you by Arma, who provides top quality supplements to athletes of all kinds. Riders like Nick Way, Chad Reed, Jeremy McGrath use them for pre, during, and post-activity applications. Be sure to head to armasport.com and use the code RACERX. That's RACERX, no spaces, for 20% off your first order.
Hey everybody, I am Kris Keefer with RacerX Films, and look around me. This is the first ever RacerX Films Dez edition. We are here with the 2020 Honda CRF450RWE. WE stands for Works Edition, or maybe you want to call it the Roxon Edition. I didn't put his numbers on here, but nonetheless, Honda came out with this bike. Little things that are different on this thing is a hand-ported head from Japan, obviously a Throttle Jockey seat cover, Renthal grips. More importantly for you guys that like the bling, Kashima Coated upper fork tubes, also DLC coated shock shaft, as well as different ECU map settings in the WE compared to the regular R version. There's black LTX DID rims, and little things that I like, obviously, look at this beautiful head pipe. Yoshimura got a head pipe and a muffler system, so complete Yoshimura muffler system on this thing. So what we're going to do, since everything is closed down, because you guys know why, we're out here on my own turf, stomping grounds out here. Big corner track we're going to ride today, choppy, rough, good day for testing. We'll give you guys some tips on this bike, how it handles, and then also compare it to the regular R version. Is this price tag worth the extra money? Find out soon. All right, guys, we just got wrapped up here. A beautiful day up in the hi-dez. Obviously, we can't go to a lot of tracks in SoCal right now, so this is really easy for me. I ride these tracks near my home a lot. I know what it feels like to ride these tracks on other bikes, so comparing this Works Edition to other bikes I have ridden lately, it comes really easy to me. I can see what the chassis is doing. I can feel what the chassis is doing. And then also how much rear wheel traction I have out here. Obviously, we've had some rain in Southern California, so it's been really good for testing. And so that's a little bit of a background on where we tested out today. High speed, choppy, light bumps, but at the end of the straightaways, we have some deeper bumps, so I can feel a lot of a chassis load, rigidity, especially with this bike. So the next track we rode was more hilly, technical, had more tighter corners, I would say, and a lot of rolling sand whoops. So a little mixture today for this bike. And to start off, probably the top 3 times I have ridden a Honda that I've actually enjoyed myself right away without messing with a lot of clickers. Hopping on this bike, I've had a little bit of experience with this Works Edition, but right away I noticed how smooth it is to ride. Obviously, with the Works Edition, you're getting a hand-ported head from Japan, directly from Honda. And what that does compared to the R is make this Works Edition easier to manage out of a corner. If there's one thing I have a problem with the stock R Honda is how abrupt it is. And no matter what map, right? 1, 2, or 3. You have 1 that's standard, 2 that's the mellow map, and 3 aggressive. Same thing with this Works Edition, but they've made the maps to this head. So out of corners, I've got more rear wheel traction. I can use third gear more on the Works Edition than I can with the R. And then it just goes into the seamless mid-range where, like, when you're on the gas, you better be shifting your weight forward because, man, this thing really takes off because it has a lot of traction. The rear wheel traction reminds me a lot of a KTM 450 SXF, where it's kind of deceiving. It's quieter with these Yoshimura mufflers, and it just pulls right out of corner. Got a lot of rear wheel feel from my throttle hand. I like that. So obviously, second gear was a little bit short for me on the R. This Works Edition, totally different. It pulls farther. It's longer. It feels like it revs out farther in second gear. So I don't have a lot of complaints in second gear on this engine because it's usable. Very rare on a CRF450R standard model where I can use second gear very long. This Works Edition is very broad. I was in map 1 most of the day. I tried map 2, but it just gave me too much of a lazy feel down low that I didn't really care for. Map 3, a little bit better than map 1 out of corners, but I just had more control when I did more than 2 or 3 laps with just map 1. So very seamless power on this Works Edition, mellower. And when I say mellower, it's for the better. This Honda has a lot of power, probably the most in class, right? You need to control that power. So what Japan did with this head really matched up very good what this bike needed. So I like that long linear power. That's what you're getting with this. Another thing, so we're dealing with the same settings, fork and shock, with the R compared to the Works Edition, but now you have these coatings, right? And we all know when you have coatings, it makes it a little bit slicker, move freer. So what I'm getting from this is less mid-stroke harshness from this fork because it just seems to be freer feeling. I feel like this Works Edition is more playful. And what I mean by playful is I can hop bumps, skip around, and kind of pick my lines a little bit better because the suspension is more lively. It just moves a little bit more. It is a little soft for my 170 pounds, so I did slow the rebound down 1. Sometimes you can get what you need from rebound versus compression. So slowing the rebound 1 click for me made a good difference, had a little bit more hold up, and just moved a little slower. 107 millimeters of sag on this shock. Again, more rear wheel traction with this shock, and of course the power. And I like the fact that I can get in third gear, roll the power on, and it's not wheeling out of corners like the R. So a little bit difference for me on 107 versus 108 millimeter on the R and the Works Edition. But I like the stock clickers here. Again, not huge bumps, but good enough where I can feel and translate it to you guys. The cockpit is a Honda feel, guys. It feels great. I like this non-slip cover. It doesn't eat my butt up like other factory editions that we talked about, the Husky and the KTM. This thing is nice, has a good feel, and the ribs are soft enough to give you some traction, but not hurt your behind. Again, the Yoshimura muffler looks beautiful. It is a quiet system. It's not very loud. It's not very raspy. I liked how they mated this system with the porting that Japan did. It's a very nice feel. So the question everybody wants to know is it worth it? Is the Works Edition worth it? Is the juice worth the squeeze, people? $9,400 standard R. This thing is at $12,000, $2,600 more. If you just plan on buying a Honda and leaving it, no problem. The R is fine. But for me, how much I ride, I race occasionally, this is better, more controllable. The suspension is plusher. My old behind likes a plush feel. And for me, I think it's worth it. If you're spending $10,000 already, for me, I'm going to have an extra $2,000. I'm going to go this route. I'm going to keep this bike more than a year. Beautiful bike. To me, I built a Honda, and you'll see it in the Racer X garage builds here. I built a Honda to make it smoother and broader. That's kind of what I'm getting right here, right now. And I spent a lot more money to get my R the way I want it versus, well, should have bought a Works Edition. It has that power character that I enjoy. This Honda gives me a headache. I walk out in the shop, I look at it, makes me want to go ride dirt bikes. I feel like I can go fast. I'm like, I want to ride this thing, you know? So, but when I ride it, sometimes a little rigid, a little harsh. This engine character that Japan did on this Works Edition makes it more fun to ride. I like that. I approve. One of the top 3 times that I've had a great time, like I said, right away on this bike, and this was it. Okay, so the cornering on a Honda, we all know it's really good, right? To me, it's a little bit better on the Works Edition because I have a little bit more front-end traction. I can't decide if it's because of the engine character or if it's because of this Kashima coating, but nonetheless, I have a little bit more lean angle feel, and it sticks in the corner better. I've been riding other bikes on this track a lot. By far, this is the best I've ever felt on this track today because of this bike. Lots of corners. You have to arc your corners really good. This thing sticks, gives me the confidence it's planted. Man, there's nothing else better than a Honda through corners. And even at 248 pounds, that's the wet weight, it doesn't feel like it. It feels to me lighter than a KTM. I know you guys are going, oh, whatever, Keefer, but I'm telling you guys, sometimes on paper, weight doesn't matter. It's where the weight is placed and how the engine is delivered. So for me, laying over in the corner, this Works Edition, by far the best one. All right, guys, so that wraps it up for the CRF450R Works Edition test. To me, this bike is a better Honda. If I was going that route, man, this is a great bike, really fun bike to ride. So don't forget to check back more to racerxonline.com. And of course, if you guys have any questions, you can hit me up personally, Kris at KeeferInkTesting.com, and I'll help you out. See you next time.